thank you everybody for being here today, and we have some opening remarks. But before we have opening remarks, I just sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, thank the audience members that showed up today, the testifiers showed up today, and a special thank you to my colleagues from Education and Finance that took time out of their busy lives. The policy people kind of have to show up, but Ed Finance, so I appreciate you guys from Ed Finance, including the most important member of Ed Finance, Senator Mary Kunesh. So do you guys want to add anything? You're biting your tongues? Thank you. Senator Kunesh.
Thank you so much, and thanks for bringing us together today. We don't often do these joint meetings, and I think it always adds a little bit of fun at the end of session to be together. And thank you, Senator Swedzinski, for your service here in the Minnesota Senate. It's been my joy and my honor to have you as my partner in this educational plight, and I couldn't have thought of a better partner to do this with, so thank you very much, and honored to be here. I was asked to do a quick land acknowledgement, and so we are here today and acknowledge the honor and of the ancestral lands of the indigenous peoples of North America who have inhabited these lands called the United States of America for over 30,000 years. Minnesota is the original homelands of the Dakota and then Anishinaabe and Ho-Chunk, and we welcome the many other native nations who call this state their home. This land has been home to a vibrant culture, language, and tradition long before the arrival of settlers. We recognize a deep connection that these communities have to this land and their continued advocacy, and acknowledge the ongoing impact of colonization. As we gather here today, let's commit to continue to learn about and respect the history and contributions of Indigenous people, building mutual prosperity and honest relationships. Together, let's strive to foster those relationships based on trust, understanding, and equity, and we honor the resilience and the strength of Native communities because they have been here since time immemorial and will continue to for many generations to come. So let us remember that our actions today and in the future shape those future generations. Wopila Tonka and Chimigwich.
Thank you, Senator. The reason we brought everybody today in education is outside the Senate chambers are the words by President Garfield, our second president to be assassinated. And he said once, next in importance to freedom and justice. Next in importance to freedom and justice is popular education, neither of which justice nor freedom can permanently be maintained without education. And I love pausing from time to time as I enter the chambers and looking up at those words and wonder about what we're doing. And then in less than 2 months from today, there's going to be all these parades and picnics and pyrotechnics. See the alliteration there. And I hope that we pause and on that day to teach our children and to teach our neighbors and to teach our parents a little bit of history and civics and nobility of what this day really is all about. And when the signers of the Declaration of Independence, the original, notice on the right-hand side, the united is not it's not a noun, it's a verb. And that was intentional because they just wanted the states of America, the 13, to be united. And when the 56 signers start signing it, we couldn't wait for the hard copy, for a copy to be sent to General Washington so he could unite the troops. So we're becoming increasingly discouraged because we've been at war with the British now for over a year and we really don't know what we're fighting for. And so all of a sudden, Hancock, as he signs it, and somebody in the room said, "What'd you sign it so large for?" And leave some room for somebody else, Hancock. And his response was, "I signed it so large so that King George III can read my name without his eyeglasses." And he said, "Let's get this somebody to print off. So we need somebody to Xerox this thing." And no one knew what a Xerox machine was. So this guy named Dunlap grabbed it and made hundreds of copies. so they could send the copy on the right, or your left, to all the colonists, to all the Minutemen, to all the other people in the 13 colonies. And when Washington read that to the troops, he paused and he noticed now united is a noun. So it went from a verb to a noun in a matter of hours. And when he read that to the troops who were becoming discouraged from dysentery and smallpox and sieges, and they're looking across bodies of water at the largest army the world had ever amassed, and this gave them hope for another day. And I hope in the coming days, when Stevie Wonder sings Signed, Sealed, Delivered, I'm Yours, I hope an image of the Declaration of Independence pops in your head and not some girl or that he was singing to, because this document's supposed to unite us. And I hope on July 4th this year, as we listen to the testifiers, you get a little seed planted in your head that maybe this year we're going to be united as a nation, put partisan politics aside for one day and celebrate all the things that make this nation of nations a continuing lamp of destiny for humanity as we go on to celebrate 250 more years. When those guys signed that document, one of the last words in there, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. It's a nice reminder of what we're all about as a species for all of us. And so with that said, members, let's begin. Thank you for all coming today. We will start our testimony today with a student testifier from the Minnesota High School League State High School Debate Champions. When you come up, introduce yourselves for the record, and don't be nervous and have a nice time.
Good morning, Senator Swedzinski, as well as members of the committee. My name is Kiernan Baxterkoff. I am a senior at St. Paul Central High School, right down the road in Minnesota. Thank you so much for inviting me here to speak today about something that I love so much, which is debate and how it connects to free speech and especially, the Declaration of Independence. I've been involved in an activity that is called policy debate for the past 7 years of my life, and I've loved every single moment of it. Each year, you're given a resolution or a policy proposal, and you're told to write cases for and against that you argue throughout the year in front of different people. Debate has tested my critical thinking skills, as well as my ability to listen, think, and use evidence-based reasoning to persuade others while understanding the world around me, which is why I am so excited to be talking about the importance of democracy and free speech today. I like talking about these things not just because I like winning debates, but rather that this knowledge is incredibly important for life outside of debate. In a time where we have so much access to information that may or may not be true, being forced to have qualified sources, authors, and data helps students understand that we need actual facts to back up our claims. Educational opportunities that teach students about policy get more students involved in creating policy that reflects them, so we can be more united as, a people. When the Declaration of Independence was written and signed 250 years ago, it didn't reflect everyone at the time, and it wasn't meant to. But it did lay a framework for us to build on and to adapt to the future needs of our society, which is what we are doing today by protecting and enshrining free speech. In order to find good information, people need to be able to speak about it. The Declaration, whose anniversary we are celebrating, was created because the people needed something that reflected them and showed that they are their own people. And although it wasn't perfect, they debated their way to a better world, which only education and a right to free speech can ensure. My education has made me the person I am today, and the reason I feel knowledgeable about the world around me. The access and support of education in Minnesota is unmatched and fantastic. But like everyone else in the world, it is not perfect and doesn't always account for every student in the room, which is how we can use the Declaration to unite us together. The Declaration should be seen as a document that every student belongs and every student has a right to free speech, and the Declaration laid out that statement 250 years ago. Thank you.
Is it okay if I stand? Is that chill?
And I just want to remind members if at any time
Good morning. My name is Will Cannon. I'm a senior at Farmington High School and a member of SALT at the MSHSL. First and foremost, I want to thank Senator Swadzinski and the members of the committee for allowing me the opportunity to give my testimony today. Of all the experiences I've had in my life, my participation in high school debate has been most impactful. I want to thank my coaches, Mrs. Bauman and Vrithi, my partner, Nicola, and my competitors like Kiernan. These people, among many others, have given me the possibility to grow my critical thinking and advocacy skills. However, one of the greatest gifts I've received from debate is the ability to take these skills into the public sphere, and in that same arena, it has become especially important to know how to advocate. In this current political moment where free speech is under attack, literacy is at an all-time low, and fascism is rampant in America, I give my thanks to debate for teaching me how to contend with this world. While academic debate gives us portable skills to navigate our world and do things like advocating at the state senate, debate itself is not untouched by the very fabrics of our world that we contend with here and now. That is to say, the tension, disagreement, and moments of reflection that free speech provides is the cornerstone of education, critical thinking, and society as a whole. It is the very foundation of democracy. As AI is on the rise and intellectualism is attacked, the communicative skills debate teaches have been especially critical in my growth as an advocate and as a person. To put this in context, I attended a protest at Governor Walz's mansion demanding an eviction moratorium. When I arrived, there were only a few people left, disorganized and quiet. Using the skills debate has taught me, such as developing a shared language to discuss common interests and giving me the confidence necessary to take the lead, my debate partner and I were able to begin the conversation about the serious and often difficult to talk about conditions we live under, which reinvigorated the protest and empowered our community to make change. Moments like these speak to the great value of free and nuanced speech. I cannot stress enough the importance in that moment of building connections like these, rethinking our own beliefs, and retooling our language for the task at hand. This illustrates how debate is more than just communication, and so is free speech. Moments like this are about that tension and disagreement we encounter when talking about uncomfortable topics such as ICE, the Palestinian genocide, and funding inequities in this room and elsewhere. The words we use might be different, but as an 18-year-old high schooler, I know these are the whispered conversations we have in hallways and classrooms, necessitated by the unprecedented conditions we live under. Debate has given me the mind and soul to navigate disagreements and live in that tension, to sit with it, taking apart complex words and ideas, analyzing my own position in these injustices, and how to move past them. I want you to do that too. Think about the disagreements, arguments, and debates you've had before, and sit with those disagreements. Take apart the things you can learn from them. Analyze your position in these disagreements. And most importantly, I want you to think deeply about how to move past them. Call that quirky uncle and have a difficult conversation about politics. Come up to me after this and have a conversation. Stop and think. What do you want your life, our world, to look like? I hope that everyone here today can take a moment to step back, slow down, and think, am I doing the right thing? I hope that the uncomfortability brought forward by disagreement in moments like these urge you to reconsider your beliefs. I hope that you can speak your truth, because we need to end the era of empty words, meant only to appeal to voters for political power. I want to hear what you truly believe, what you are truly committed to doing. I've learned from years of listening to hypothetical government policies in every policy debate round that words without action are meaningless. But our words hold power. They hold a commitment to action. Every word you say here can create a new world. Every moment of connection we foster between each other can create new life. When I say that I demand justice, I mean it. I don't want a public statement. I don't want reassurance. I want and need change. I need you to make a commitment to passing policy that benefits us, all of us. Demands for an eviction moratorium, ending police collaboration with ICE, and protection of protesters and everyone speaking freely ring through my mind endlessly. I hope your decisions weigh on your soul as they do on mine. As I finish speaking, please do not give me another empty promise. Give me your commitment to follow that promise through. I've heard enough promises, and I've watched enough of those promises be broken. Thank you for allowing me to speak freely, and I hope you'll share what you learned today with your colleagues.
Thank you both. Having coached debate for 3 years, I don't remember any of my students being as passionate as you are. So I hope none of them are listening. Next up, we'll hear from Commissioner Willie Jett.
How am I supposed to follow that? Now, first and foremost, good morning, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I just want to say thank you for inviting me to be part of this special hearing recognizing the 250th anniversary of our nation. My name is Willie Jett, and I have the privilege of serving as the Commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Education. Before I begin, I want to offer a special thank you to Chair Swedzinski for your years of service not only in the legislature, but in the classroom. There is something deeply fitting about a civics teacher helping lead this conversation about democracy, citizenship, and the future of this country. And I also want to recognize Senator Kunesh for her work as a school librarian. Access to books, ideas, and information is essential to both education and democracy. And librarians help open those doors for young people each and every day. Long before many young people ever cast a ballot, they encounter a democracy through their teachers, through classroom discussions, through learning how to listen, question, debate respectfully, and engage with people whose experiences may differ from their own. Public education is where citizenship first becomes real. 250 years ago, our founders declared independence and put forward an extraordinary idea that government derives its power from the people, that freedom and self-governance are responsibilities as much as rights. As we reflect on that history, I also think about my own experiences as a student and the teachers who helped shape how I understood this country, not as a perfect nation, but as one always working towards its ideals. Part of honoring our history honestly means recognizing both our progress and our failures. We teach students about the founding principles of liberty and equality, while also teaching the difficult truths of slavery, the treatment of indigenous communities, and the many moments when our country fell short of its own promises. Not to diminish this anniversary, but because understanding our full history helps prepare young people to build a stronger future. That work is happening every day in Minnesota schools. Across our state, educators, libraries, museums, historical societies, and community organizations are helping students to connect history to place, to people, and to civic life today. Whether through local history projects, classroom conversations, historical exhibits, or outdoor learning experiences, students are being reminded that democracy is not something we inherit automatically. It is something every generation must learn, must practice, and strengthen. And that is ultimately why public education matters so deeply to this moment. Yeah, Chair Swedzinski, you're supposed to sit down for a minute. I know. So because the future of our democracy depends on young people believing they belong in it, understand it, and have the power to shape it, I just want to say thank you again to the chairs for convening this hearing, to Senator Swedzinski and Senator Kunesh for your leadership and your service, and to everyone here who continues the work of strengthening civic life for the next generation of Minnesotans. So now I'd like to turn the mic over to a couple special guests, Miss Sarah Griffin and Mr. Charlie Crocker, Eden Prairie students from way, way back in the day. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, nice to meet you. Are you the first chair?
Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning. Senator Swedzinski, members of the Education Policy Committee, I'm honored to be here to celebrate the United States' 250th birthday, as well as your legacy, Senator Swedzinski. Birthdays give us an opportunity to reflect on our lives, what we've learned, where we're going. I'm grateful to live in this democracy where liberty and justice for all is paramount. It's our foundation. My name is Sarah Griffin, and I had Senator Swedzinski as a student from 2001 to 2004. He was my 10th grade U.S. history teacher. He led a group of us on a visit to Washington, D.C., in the close-up program, and I had him for 12th grade government. Senator Swedzinski was my teacher on the morning of September 11th, 2001. I had him second hour. which began around 9:10 in the morning. That's a morning that I'll never forget. As a 15-year-old turning 16, the world had changed in the most terrifying way that any of my fellow students had ever experienced. And Senator Swadzinski didn't flinch. He helped us see our history not as something finished and framed on a wall, but as something alive, something that we were a part of. He gave us hope when hope felt impossible. And then he gave us a mission, carpe diem. Write letters to your local newspapers, be engaged, help people. Leave the world better than you found it. You may disagree with your classmates, but you must always fight for the right to disagree. He didn't just teach those ideas, he made us prove them. We built portfolios in his class. We did real deep work. We had debates. We disagreed. And through that conflict and disagreement, we grew and we learned. It was intellectual, it was creative. You had to show your thinking, not just recite it. Because of those messages, because of that teaching, my life trajectory has been forever changed. I've spent my life trying to follow his lead, teaching first graders, volunteering in schools, working to bring people together and keep hope alive in the people around me and in my community. As the United States approaches its 250th birthday, I think about what Swad taught us, that democracy is not a spectator sport, that the thread connecting 1776 to today is made of ordinary people doing small, courageous things, writing the letter, showing up for their neighbor, refusing to give up, engaging in real conversation, face to face, and working through those disagreements to realize we have far more common ground than we realize. This past winter, wind chills at 50 below, my front door nearly frozen shut. I desperately wanted to be back in Senator Swadzinski's classroom, and so we made it happen. He and Patty came and gathered at my home with a group of fellow citizens, because that's what he taught us to do, to talk through crises and to take action, to be engaged, to serve one another. It's the sum of those small actions that build a community, that bind us, that form democracy. It gives us hope. It is the American story. Swad, you told us to seize the day, to be engaged, to help people, to leave the world better than we found it, to serve, to question, to hope. Thank you for your years of service to our state of Minnesota, to our community of Eden Prairie, to your thousands of students, lives forever changed. I'll continue leading with your legacy in mind. And while I may disagree with fellow citizens, I will always fight for the right to have that disagreement. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator and members. My name is Charlie Crocker, Eden Prairie High School, class of 2010. A day without an epiphany, used to tell us, is like a day without a bowel movement. So I have to assume, Senator, your retirement's either going to be very productive or very uncomfortable. But in all seriousness, that college-level joke was the first lesson you taught us in momentum. You taught us that if you aren't moving mentally, politically, or physically, you're stagnant. Senator, years ago, I sat in your 10th grade history class, writing reactographs, casually following the guidelines of the portfolio, all while sitting just outside of the spit zone, which, looking at the layout of this committee, is a perfect setup given your range. My passion for politics, my love of a sharp catchphrase, and my belief that one person can actually make a difference, it all traces back to your classroom. You didn't just teach us history, you taught us that we were the ones responsible for creating it, for building, participating in, and following movements. Your classroom was unique. Most students, like me, found it inspiring, engaging, eye-opening. Others, like my sisters, found it unstructured, loud. While technically you were helping us prepare for the AP history test, you actively refused to teach to a test. This is notable because you are the same teacher who introduced, the same president who introduced the No Child Left Behind Act, but instead you taught us to learn about the world. and about influence and about humanity. You inspired us with your words, your stories, and now more so than ever, your actions. So with the AP exams behind us and about 5 more weeks of class to go, you took the opportunity to demonstrate what it meant to not let creativity die at the schoolhouse gates. I remember the day you gave us a lesson on the Beatles. You told us how Paul McCartney wrote a song for John Lennon's son, Julian, but Hey Julian didn't have the same flow, it didn't move. So he took some liberties in the songwriting process and changed it to Hey Jude. But I digress. Buried in that song is the line that became the unofficial manifesto for every student you ever taught. The movement you need is on your shoulder. It's the same slogan we put on the poster at the end of that year, some 20 years ago. For decades, you've been in motion, literally. You took me and my closest friends, hundreds of other students to Washington, D.C., and walked us 15 miles a day around that city backwards. You were literally moving us toward our future while refusing to ever stop teaching. However, a few years later, when you and your peers did stop teaching, you let your retirement be a moment to get in motion, a moment to run, and also a moment to take a seat in these hallowed halls. And what a 10 years it has been. And now you reach another end. I remember the question you posed to us on one of those secret stops in Washington, D.C. Do you give a man what he asked for or what he deserved? FDR asked for a simple stone the size of the Resolute desk. We gave him 7.5 acres in the tidal basin because of his impact, his movement. It was bigger than his request. So, Senator, as we think about your legacy, I can't help but think about what you deserve. And while I'd love to say it's a 7.5 acre park along the river, I don't think that's the right committee for this. Your impact is bigger than a classroom. It's bigger than Eden Prairie High School. It's bigger than this committee. It's bigger than this building. It lives in the momentum of every student who carries a piece of your fire into the world. You've spent your career putting the movement they need on the shoulders of others. We're all lucky to learn that we don't need to wait for permission, shouldn't worry about how it's always been done. Just keep moving, because the movement you need is on your shoulder. It always has been. Congratulations.
Thank you both. My staff did a nice job not telling me you were coming in, so I don't know whether to be angry with them or happy, but thank you both for coming in today, and I don't know what you're doing on the day of my funeral, but if you'd like to bring those remarks and recite it to my guests. I don't know what to say. I'm speechless, so thank you. Secretary, again, I don't know what. It's good to see you both. Haven't seen Secretary of State Simon. I think you're up. And please, I'm not dead yet, so can we focus on the declaration?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I can't believe I have to follow that. What a great tribute. I wish, I had some great teachers, but it makes me wish I'd had you as a teacher when I was in high school. So thank you, Mr. Chair, thank you, members, for having me. And thanks for the opportunity to join you to discuss the celebration of the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the beginning of our democratic republic. On July 4, 1776, our nation declared, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal." I've been asked today by you to talk about why Minnesotans are so civically engaged. And there are many ways to assess civic engagement, of course, some of which are really about a feeling, a vibe, but some of which can be measured. For example, news media consumption, or charitable contributions, or participation in civic organizations like Rotary or Lions Club or Chamber of Commerce. Those are all measurements where Minnesota actually does exceptionally well compared to other states in the United States. But the slice of civic engagement that I'm most familiar with in my job is voting. It's one of many ways to measure civic engagement. It's certainly not the only one, but it is a good one. We know that Minnesota is a recurring champion when it comes to voting. This goes back 50 years. It's not about my tenure in office. This goes back literally to the early 1970s. And it includes years when both or each party has had good showings, years when the Secretary of State was a Republican and a Democrat, when the governor was a Republican or a Democrat. For most of the last few decades, we have been number one or number two or number three in voter participation year after year after year. You may be wondering, who is the reigning champ? Who was number one in 2024? Well, it depends whose numbers you like best. If you believe the numbers reported by the federal government, we were, once again, number one in America in voter turnout in 2024. If, however, you believe the equally reputable and legitimate numbers by the University of Florida, they had us at number two, missing the top spot by 0.2%. Can you believe that? 0.2%. That's not the worst part. The worst part is they had us losing to Wisconsin. And I'm sorry, I don't care whether it's sports or elections or anything else, that is simply not tolerable. So I will say what all the numbers agree on, whether it's University of Florida or the federal government or anyone else, was that in 2024, a subject close to your heart, Mr. Chair, we were the undisputed champs. We were number one in America in youth voter turnout, that is ages 18 to 29. And I get asked a lot in my job why I think that is. Why does Minnesota do so well so often going back 50 years when it comes to voter turnout? And I do have a theme that is, I think, consistent with our 250th birthday. I think it's a couple things, in my opinion. I think it comes down to good laws and a good pro-voting culture. We have good laws in this state overall. Over the last 50 years, Republicans and Democrats have tried to get to that perfect blend and perfect balance, if such a thing could ever exist. But we've at least tried to get to that good blend and balance of access and security. And there's an ongoing debate, as there should be, about which laws to add, which laws to subtract to get to that right balance. And reasonable people in this room and everywhere can disagree about what that balance looks like. But in my judgment, over 50 years, while no system is perfect, ours included, I think we are in the sweet spot of that good balance between the two. But culture matters too. Culture matters a lot. As all of you know, we don't have mandatory voting in this country. I wouldn't support that. The right to vote is also the right not to vote. But there are countries that do. Brazil, Belgium, Australia, a few others have mandatory voting, where if you don't vote, you're fined or worse. There's someone in our office who recently talked to someone from Brazil who mentioned that one time she forgot to vote. Not only was she fined, but they held up her passport renewal. We don't have that. I'm not counseling that. I would oppose that. I'm just simply saying voting culture probably doesn't matter a lot in Brazil. Who cares if someone's excited, energized, motivated, happy? Doesn't matter. You got to do it. It's mandatory. Here in this country, the culture around voting as a mode of civic participation does matter. And with that, I want to zero in on an area that, Mr. Chair, as we've just heard, is near and dear to your heart, and that is our schools. I think our schools in Minnesota, from a cultural standpoint, do a very good job at conveying that elections matter. You have helped that, all of you, by funding our youth voter outreach position, by passing things like pre-registration for 16 and 17-year-olds. And I've been to nearly 80 high schools in this term in office, and I can tell you that there is a buzz out there about participating in elections in some form or fashion. We have a mock election program, as you may know. We call it Students Vote. It started maybe a decade ago, and it's grown and grown and grown to hundreds of schools. In 2024, 131,000 Minnesota students cast ballots in that exercise. And it's just that, it's an exercise, it's practice for literally the act of casting a vote, filling in a bubble, something that students might not otherwise know that's how you do it. I've also done 49 visits to colleges and universities this term where there's real interest and energy and enthusiasm, and where there is skepticism, and it does exist. We all know people in our lives, particularly young people who are skeptical, maybe even hostile when it comes to voting and democracy and elections. We have conversations about that, candid conversations. So I just want to end on a cultural note with a story that, to me anyway, illustrates the culture that I'm referencing and talking about when it comes to Minnesotans and voting. It has to do with the passage of the Voting Rights Act in 1965. I think anyone who fairly looks at American history would put that in the top 10 in terms of most consequential enactments by the US Congress. Of course, it got rid of poll taxes, got rid of literacy tests, got rid of so-called character tests for voting in parts of this country. And if we were to take a vote in this room on the text of the 1965 Vote Act, it would be 100% to 0, of course, utterly non-controversial. But in 1965, it was controversial. And in 1965, then as now, we sent 8 members to the U.S. House of Representatives. Based on population, we had 8. We do today. Then as now, it was divided 4 and 4. In 1965 and in 2026, we send 4 Republicans to the U.S. House and 4 Democrats to the U.S. House. And those 8 people disagreed on a lot in the mid-1960s. And yet, when the roll was called on the Voting Rights Act in the summer of 1965, Minnesota spoke with one voice. We were one of the few unanimous states. Our entire congressional district, both U.S. senators, all 8 U.S. House members, rural, urban, suburban, Democrat, Republican, conservative, and liberal, they all voted for the Voting Rights Act. That's pretty extraordinary. Now, the lesson I take from that is not that we always do or always should agree on elections policy. We don't, and I'm not sure we should. I think a vigorous, healthy debate is a good thing. I think perpetual criticism and reinvention is a good thing. So that's not the lesson I draw. The lesson I draw is when it comes to the big moral questions, who's in and who's out? Who gets to participate and who doesn't? We in Minnesota traditionally, going back decades, have more often than not been on the same page. That's the lesson I draw, and that's part of the culture around voting, which of course is just one slice among many slices of civic participation. So I think that's something worth remembering and honoring as we head to our 250th anniversary. It's yet for the nation when it comes to this slice of civic participation. So thank you, Mr. Chair and members, for the opportunity, and thanks for doing this hearing.
Thank you, Secretary Simon. Next up are 3 members of the Minnesota Historical Society. As they walk up, I just want to remind, get that image back up on the screen. When next time you're at a rummage sale, garage sale, estate sale, and you find an old, battered painting that you want to buy for the frame, there's only about 26 of those original copies on the left around today. And somebody in Philadelphia went to a garage sale and picked up an old painting for the frame. And as they threw away the painting, a piece of paper fell to the ground, and it was one of the original Dunlop copies. And that $4 investment he sold for $8.1 million. And that was in 1989. So don't give up on those garage sale purchases. Identify yourself, and thanks for coming in.
My name is Kent Whitworth, and I serve as the Director and CEO of the Minnesota Historical Society. Mr. Chair, what a joy it is to be a part of this opportunity this morning to share what the Minnesota Historical Society and others have been working on to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution and the signing of the Declaration of Independence. This is absolutely inspiring, and we are humbled to be included in this hearing. Today, we'd like to do a couple of things, but we will start with a quick learning from our history. My colleague, Dr. Bill Convery, who is the MNHS Director of Historical Research, will share historical context about how anniversaries have been marked, both in general and more specifically in past commemorations of our nation's origin. Kevin Mila, to my left, Vice President of Education and Initiatives at MNHS, will then describe activities of the Minnesota Historical Society, things that we're doing this year, and then update you on the work of the Governor's Committee on Minnesota and America 250. I'd also like to recognize other MNHS colleagues that are joining us today. Jennifer Gascoigne from MNHS is coordinating the Governor's Committee on America 250. Sammy Jo Pappas is our co-coordinator of National History Day. You will hear more about that shortly. And of course, David Kelleher needs no introduction to this group, but he serves as our Vice President for Government Relations and Public Policy. While Minnesota certainly was not one of the original 13 colonies, we do have a very rich history to share. Minnesotans have made significant contributions to the United States since 1776, and frankly, for millennia earlier, when indigenous people first inhabited this place that we all now have the privilege to call as home. That Minnesota Historical Society mission statement says, "We serve all people of Minnesota. We create meaningful engagement with history, and we do this so we can cultivate curiosity and to foster more inclusive, empathetic, and informed society. At MNHS, we strive to do this in all of our work every single day. In considering the MNHS activities for the semiquincentennial, and I did say that, I'm kind of proud of that, semiquincentennial, we have been inspired by one of the goals of the bicentennial in 1976, which was to leave a legacy or a gift to future generations. The work that we do today will have an impact on future generations. And in my view, the greatest gift that we can give the next generation of Minnesotans at this commemorative moment is a new edition of the Minnesota Historical Society's Minnesota Studies Curriculum, Northern Lights. More than 90% of sixth graders across our state use this textbook and related online resources. And I am pleased to inform you that the third edition of Northern Lights comes out this summer, perfectly aligned with the semiquincentennial, and it will be used in Minnesota classrooms beginning this fall. Today, we will literally just touch the tip of the iceberg, but I encourage all of you to go to the Minnesota Historical Society webpage at mnhs.org for a full schedule of activities, or you can also look at the Minnesota A250 Committee webpage as well. That is a great resource, and we will be commemorating and celebrating throughout the remainder of this year. And frankly, we have been commemorating since we flipped the calendar to 2026. And now I'll hand off to my colleague, Bill Convery.
Thank you, Kent. Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, and members of the committee, thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Dr. William Convery. I'm the Director of Research at the Minnesota Historical Society. And before I begin my long and tedious historical lecture, I just want to have a personal note. My mother was a media specialist, Senator Kunish, and my father was a high school history teacher. So I know personally the inspiration that educators such as yourselves can give to a person. It made me the person I am today.
Thank you.
So thank you for your work.
Yes, thank you. I thought you were going to say you were a student of Senator Swedzinski.
No, I wish I was, after what I've heard. So John Adams, once President of the United States, once said that the anniversary of American independence, and I'm quoting here, ought to be solemnized with pomp and parade, with shows, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires and illuminations from one end of this continent to the other, from this time forward, forevermore. And that wasn't far off what the Minneapolis Star-Tribune reported 100 years later. At the stroke of midnight on July 4th, 1876, quote, the pent-up enthusiasm found expression in thunderous rounds of cannon discharges, the screaming of steam whistles, the clangor of bells, all accompanied with a cheer and a shout from thousands of throats. Almost since the beginning, Americans have celebrated their birthday in grand style, and Minnesotans have joined in with gusto. So it is perhaps unsurprising to learn that many aspects of our nation's centennial, our sesquicentennial, that's the 150th, and our bicentennial would look familiar to us today, even if the clothing and hairstyles have changed. Whether it was 1876 or 1926 or 1976, Minnesotans have organized parades and held picnics. They have offered toasts, prayers, and hymns. They've honored veterans. Politicians have praised freedom and democracy, and ministers sermonized about God and country. Community bands played patriotic songs. Minnesotans performed public readings of the Declaration of Independence. They cheered their local baseball teams. They flocked to parks and beaches, cabins, and resorts up at the lake. They've oohed and awed over fireworks and set off more than a few illicit ones of their own. Specifics vary from town to town and year to year. German and Scandinavian immigrants sponsored huge community picnics in 1876. 50 years later, Minneapolis and St. Paul hosted picnics for newly naturalized citizens of their own. Minneapolis's 1876 parade featured exotic circus animals, marching bands, and a flotilla of young ladies, each dressed as one of the 38 states. Participants struck a Liberty Bell, ringing out the numbers 1776 and 1876. In 1926, an estimated 100,000 excursionists from the Twin Cities and beyond jammed northern northern Minnesota's lakeside cabins and resorts. The 4th fell in the middle of a 3-day weekend that year, and quote, "There will be very little incentive for anyone to attempt to do anything but relax and enjoy the holiday," the Pioneer Press noted. By July 6th of that year, Bemidji's stores, gas stations, and restaurants had been stripped clean. Fireworks, parades, and pageants were the order of the day in southern Minnesota as well. In Faribault in 1926, 3,000 people attended a 2-hour historical pageant called Star of the North. Not to be outdone, Mankato held their own pageant of progress before an audience of 4,000. In 1976, Minnesotans embraced a national revival of public history. Split Rock Lighthouse opened that year, as well as the Minnesota Military Museum. Grand Rapids leaders and MNHS officials broke ground for the Forest History Center in 1976. Historic Fort Snelling began full public operations in 1977. And seeking to expand public access to the state's historic documents, the Minnesota Historical Society opened a state-of-the-art archival research center that year as well. A look into the past shows that Minnesotans have always understood that the 4th of July is an important time. It's an important time to enjoy friends and family, to celebrate a common history, and to honor common ideals of freedom, democracy, and equality. For our ancestors as much as ourselves, the 4th is a community rededication to the dream of a more perfect union. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'll now hand off to Kevin Mila, Vice President for Education and Initiatives.
Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, thank you for the opportunity today to discuss and honor history and education as we commemorate the signing of the Declaration of Independence this year. The Minnesota Historical Society has a full schedule of activities to mark our nation's semi-quincentennial. We sent around to the committee a handout that describes some of those, and of course you can find that information on our website as well. These activities range from lectures such as the History Forum lecture series, which has been running over 20 years, to programs at Minnesota Historical Society sites. For example, we're hosting an exhibit from the Daughters of the American Revolution at Historic Fort Snelling, June 20th through July 2nd. We have a big event on July 4th as well at that site. And we'll be adding an exhibit on George Washington at the Oliver Kelly Farm this summer as well. And we're highlighting the anniversary itself through a series of special articles in Minnesota History Magazine for each issue here in 2026. Today, we'd also like to highlight a new exhibit opening at the Minnesota History Center this very day. This exhibit is opening in time for Statehood Day next Monday, May 11th. It presents the story of Minnesota's beginnings when perhaps Republicans and Democrats didn't get along. They had two constitutions. Why did we have two constitutions? Well, as we neared statehood, the two parties could not agree on a final version of the Constitution, so they each wrote their own version. These are in the collections of our state archives at the Minnesota Historical Society, and don't worry, with this exhibit you can learn the entire story of why we have those two constitutions and how it was resolved at the end. That will be on display for the next 2 months. We have many stories, we'll have many more activities that will be rolling out in the coming weeks, including Min 250 Road Trip, which is a thematic journey, 10 thematic journeys across the state to explore the history in relation to this important anniversary. As Kent mentioned, one of the attributes of the bicentennial in 1976 was to consciously leave a legacy for future generations. One of those great opportunities to do so is in the release this summer, as he mentioned, of the newest edition of the Northern Lights textbook. This textbook and the accompanying materials have been produced by the Historical Society since 1989. And it is developed in collaboration with educators, scholars, community members. This is as comprehensive a curriculum as you can find for 11 and 12-year-olds. It is written for these sixth graders. It's designed to help school districts and students meet the current social studies academic standards. And we call this Minnesota Studies, which includes history, geography, economics, ethnic studies, and civics, as is relayed in the new academic standards that were established just recently and going into effect this coming school year. We are very excited to share Northern Lights with Minnesota students and teachers later this year. The Historical Society is also supporting the work of the Governor's Committee on America 250. Created by executive order, the committee has been meeting and has created a website, www.mnhs.org /America-250. This has resources on the anniversary, a calendar of events, on what is happening in Minnesota across the state, and additional materials to support this anniversary. Coming up on July 8th, the committee is going to be hosting the Sharing the Spirit of America event. This is a reading of the Declaration of the Independence that will take place at the state capitol. It'll be Wednesday, July 8th. This is the day that the Declaration was first read widely publicly back in 1776. And it is an event that is part of a national effort to recognize the importance of the Declaration of Independence, with readings at the same time in every place, every state and territory across the country. Finally, we'd like to share with you information about a national program that has been very successful in Minnesota, National History Day. National History Day, or NHD, is a nonprofit educational program for students in grades 6 through 12 designed to improve history teaching and learning by making it exciting and engaging, much as Senator Swedzinski did in his time. Its purpose is to teach critical thinking, research skills, and civic responsibility by having students create projects based on historical research. Each year, a different theme helps guide students in selecting their topics, and the theme for 2026 is Revolution, Reaction, Reform in History. The national contest will be taking place shortly in Maryland at the University of Maryland College Park, and today we'll be meeting 2 students who will be attending that national event. Students create projects in one of 5 categories: exhibits, documentary, performance, website, or research paper, and they compete at school, regional, and state competitions. The first and second place winners in each category at the state competition are invited to compete at nationals in Maryland in June. Minnesota has the best program in the country. Joining us today to share a little bit about their experience as National History Day students are Jack and Divya. We'll have them come up here, but I'll just give a little description of them. Jack Grauman is from Roosevelt High School in Minneapolis. He's a performance student who has participated several times and took 7th place at the national contest last year. And he is excited, and we are excited, that he is returning to nationals again this year to compete. Divya Thaman is from Edina High School. She is a documentary student who has participated several times and received an honorable mention at nationals in 2024, and she is also returning to nationals again this year. Jack, Divya.
Welcome to you both.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Jack Grauman. I'm a Roosevelt High School freshman this year, and thank you for allowing me to come speak about my experiences at National History Day. I remember back in 7th grade when History Day was introduced in my U.S. history classroom, and I didn't think much of it. But now, looking back, although it sounds crazy, I can't imagine myself without this program. It's taught me great research skills, both in analyzing deep, complicated historical sources and endless archives. The topics that I've researched in my time are not the same that are taught in school, which I think is a really valuable aspect of the program. And if you think about it, the freedom of choice in what you research for this project connects back to those freedom of speech points that speakers today have been referencing. History Day has, History Day has brought me closer to fellow students and teachers, and also greatly improved my self-confidence and public speaking skills. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Madam Chair. Committee members, my name is Divya Thaman, and I'm a sophomore. It's my 3rd year participating in History Day, and it's been such an incredible experience for me. For History Day, I make documentaries surrounding trailblazing women in history and underrepresented stories. This year, my project is about Elizabeth Peratrovich. She was an Indigenous civil rights trailblazer who helped pass America's first Anti-Discrimination Act. The experience of making a documentary for History Day has lent itself to so many incredible skills for me. It's expanded my research skills and taught me how to go in depth and really learn about a topic that I'm really passionate about. It's taught me how to dig through countless pages of archives to find historical papers that I can use for my documentary, how to reach out to primary source interviews to create unique documentaries, and how to read through legislation about my documentary. History Day has also built up my writing skills. It's taught me how to take a 25 or 30-page bibliography and turn it into a cohesive 10-minute documentary. It's taught me how to mix interviews, old historical footage, and my own student voice into a cohesive project. History Day has taught me all these skills and so much more. Not only has being a part of the program helped me create a project that I'm passionate about and help my educational experience with newly developed skills, but it's also given me opportunities spanning further. An interview for one of my documentaries opened the door for an internship with Rondo's Planting People Growing Justice, founded by civil rights attorney Dr. Artika Tyner. A topical prize has given me the opportunity to tour Twin Cities Public Television and learn about how they create documentaries. I've gone on to continue learning as a result of History Day long after the competition date ended. History is such an essential topic today, and knowing where we came from is essential to know where we're going. History Day staff like Kevin and Sammy Joe here today, as well as the Minnesota Historical Society, have helped me continue to learn about history and become truly passionate for it. Thank you.
Thank you both. My wife was a History Day participant, and she dragged me once to be a judge. No, I encouragedly went to be a judge, and what I meant to say, and I just found it such an enriching experience, so thank you for participating in that. Members, I know the caucus begins in a few minutes, so if you have to leave, I appreciate you having to leave, but we do have 3 speakers left, so anyways, thank you for coming in. The Civics Teacher of the Year and a student, come on up.
Good morning. My name is Beth Holgrimson, and I am a civics and U.S. history teacher at Andover High School. And I just wanted to say thank you to Senator Swadzinski and Representative Kunich and the members of the committee for allowing us to be here today. As the Minnesota Social Studies Teacher of the Year for 2026, it goes without saying that I care deeply about social studies education. Throughout my career, I have worked to help students better understand their place within their local, state, and national communities. I believe it is essential that young people across Minnesota understand both their rights and responsibilities as citizens. In this 250th anniversary year of our nation, I am more convinced than ever the importance of civic education. Through social studies, students learn not only how our systems of government function, but that they have a role within those systems. In my classroom, students engage in debates where they practice civil disagreement. They participate in election simulations where they learn to collaborate and work toward common goals. Civics education becomes a kind of training ground, a place where students practice what it means to participate in democracy. At its core, my goal as an educator is to help students find and use their voices, and to do so in ways that are constructive, informed, and respectful of others, even in disagreement. What inspires me most about teaching social studies education has evolved over time, but today I am especially driven by its power to build empathy. When students develop a deeper understanding of history, government, and diverse perspectives, they become more thoughtful and relational people. In my U.S. history and civics classes, I intentionally design lessons that build historical and political empathy. Students examine primary sources, evaluate evidence, and construct arguments, skills that not only strengthen their thinking, but their ability to understand others. And ultimately, the impact of this work is best not seen in what I say, but in what students do. One of the greatest joys of my career has been watching students discover their passions and realize their voices matter. I'd like to introduce you to one of those students, Mackenzie Johnson. As a 9th grader in Honor Civics, she used what she learned in class as a springboard to become involved in the Minnesota Legislature PAGE program. She exemplifies what we hope for all students, that they develop curiosity, confidence, and the belief that they can make a difference. As we reflect on the 250 years of our nation's history, preparing the next generation of informed, engaged citizens is more important than ever. And students like Mackenzie are a powerful reminder of what is possible. Please join me in welcoming Mackenzie Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Madam Chair and Committee. My name is Mackenzie Johnson, and I'm a junior at Andover High School. As we celebrate the 250th anniversary of our country, we're celebrating something bigger than a date on a calendar. We're celebrating an idea, the idea that a nation can be shaped not by kings, not by bloodlines, not by a divine power, but by its people. That idea didn't become real all at once. It took generations of Americans learning and choosing to carry it forward. That's why civic and social studies education matters to me. Our democracy isn't self-sustaining, it doesn't run on autopilot, it runs on the people who understand how it works. People who know their rights, their responsibilities, and the power of their own voice. Social studies isn't just another subject we take in school. It is the way we learn to understand the world we live in and the system that sustains our being. It teaches us that every challenge we face today has roots, context, and lessons from the people who came before us. It shows us patterns in human behavior, the consequences of decisions, and the power of collective action. Social studies helps us see beyond our own experiences and recognize the perspectives, struggles, and hopes of others. It gives us the tools to question, to analyze, and to empathize. When we study history, we're not mesmerizing dates. We're learning how societies rise, how they fail, and how they rebuild. History shows us our brightest achievements and our darkest failures. It teaches us what lifted people up, but also tore others down. When we confront the mistakes of the past, we gain the wisdom to build a future that doesn't repeat them. When we study civics, we're learning how to participate in that story ourselves. These subjects remind us that democracy is not something that we watch happen, it is something we actively create. And without a generation that understands that, we risk losing the very things that define our nation. All of this starts in classrooms like mine. In Ms. Holmgren's civics class, I didn't just learn how government works, I learned that my voice matters and that I have a place in shaping the future of this country. Teachers like her give students the confidence to step into that responsibility. Civic and social studies education doesn't just prepare us for tests, it prepares us for citizenship. And if we want our democracy to endure, we have to keep preparing the people who will inherit it. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today and for recognizing the importance of preparing young people to carry our democracy forward.
Thank you, Senator Abler.
Well, Mr. Chair, I just want to commend all the students for how amazing they were. The adult speakers were great too. And, Andover High School, Mr. President, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to remark, you know what district they're from? But the other students
I'm
are
sure you're going to
remarkable as
remind
well.
us.
Yeah. Anyway, very proud of you all and the rest of the presenters, the students in particular, so thank you.
Thank you. Our last two speakers are from the VFW and the American Legion. Thank you for your patience today, and thank you everybody that's has spoken.
Good morning. My name is Linda Dvorak. I am the state commander for the American Legion. I am a veteran. I have served in and out of uniform for 42 years with the military. I am also the daughter of a veteran, the sister of a veteran who was at the Pentagon on 9/11. I am a wife of a veteran, a mother of a veteran, and a grandmother of a veteran. So the Minnesota has a deep military tradition, from soldiers who served during the American Civil War, including the 1st Minnesota Infantry's pivotal role in Gettysburg, to those who served in Iraq and Afghanistan. Minnesotans have consistently answered the call. That legacy connects directly to the founding ideals born out of the American Revolution. Today's veterans are your neighbors. They are business owners, teachers, first responders, and community leaders across Minnesota. The veteran population is diverse, men and women, rural and urban, from every background, and younger veterans are bringing new skills and perspectives into the workforce and civic life. Service doesn't end with the uniform. Many veterans continue serving through organizations like the American Legion and the VFW, mentoring youth, supporting fellow veterans, and strengthening communities. Their commitment to service, leadership, and patriotism carries forward long after active duty. Challenges still exist. While Minnesota often ranks well in veteran services, issues like mental health, access to care, employment transitions, and veteran homelessness remain real. Awareness and community support are critical to ensuring no veteran is left behind. Veterans represent a living link to our national values. They embody duty, sacrifice, and a commitment to something larger than themselves. Understanding veterans past and present means recognizing both their contributions and our responsibilities to support them. So what do veterans look for at the semi-quincentennial? Purpose-driven recognition. Actions matter more than spectacle. Community service campaigns, housing, food security, disaster response, veteran-led volunteer initiatives, a day of service tied to the anniversary. This aligns with the idea of patriotism is demonstrated through service, not just a celebration. Local and personal recognition. National events are great, but veterans often value community-level ceremonies, recognition of specific units and eras of service, inclusion of families who share the burden of service, education and civic engagement. Many veterans deeply care about what the country stands for. We have Boy State and Girl State, Constitution-focused programs, youth engagement, and discussions about duty, citizenship, and national security. Respectful and not commercial tone. Overly corporate or entertainment-heavy celebrations can feel disconnected. Veterans generally appreciate authenticity, history, and substance. The National Commander, Dan Wiley, is suggesting that posts hold open houses, invite the public into their post homes during the 4th of July weekend. Many posts already are joining up with their city in celebrating Independence Day, thus observing American 250, including baseball games, assisting with the cost of fireworks, sending their honor guards to town celebrations. We need to teach the next generation about patriotism. Honor is understanding. Thank you.
Good morning, thank you. Barry Henriksen, Department of Minnesota, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Adjutant Quartermaster and Past State Commander. And my home post in White Bear Lake will have our Day of Service this coming Saturday, bringing the community together to honor service. And every year I spend time in the classroom around Veterans Day, and these students are a fabulous testament to what we're doing in our schools. But a lot of times veterans have a hard time getting into the classroom. So I would ask that all schools really take a good look at bringing in veterans to talk about the service. Going back to 1861, when Governor Ramsey happened to be in Washington, D.C., when Fort Sumter was attacked, and volunteered 1,000 Minnesotans, and the first Minnesotan would go on to save the day at Gettysburg, Day 2, and keep our country united at a horrible cost. Still, the highest percentage of casualties ever in the history of the United States at 82%. But service didn't stop there. World War II, it was the USS Ward that fired the first shot at Pearl Harbor, sinking a mini Japanese submarine. And that gun is now up at the Minnesota Military Museum at Camp Ripley. But also the 194th Tank Regiment that was captured at Bataan and would go on the Bataan Death March. Or it's Vietnam, where 68,000 Minnesotans would serve and 1,000 would die. Then the Minnesota platoon was sworn in at Metropolitan Stadium. Or we've got the Iraq-Afghanistan war where I served. But how about the longest deployment ever, the Red Bulls? Our students need to know these things, and we need veterans to have that access to the classroom. And I enjoy my time every year. We have programs to recognize students with essay programs and in the middle school and high school, and recognize teachers. But a lot of times veterans find roadblocks getting into schools. I'm very lucky in White Bear Lake. On Veterans Day, I have to do a presentation to the entire middle school, and I enjoy that greatly. And so I hope to continue those things, and I enjoy our time here together, and I thank you for all that you do, and God bless the USA.
Members, any comments you'd like to make about anything? Senator Gustafson.
Thank you, Chair. I just first wanted to say hello, as I know we know each other pretty well, and I would invite everybody, you mentioned the Day of Service. In White Bear Lake, we really do, you do, but I'm happy to attend. A really special Memorial Day, Veterans Day services. The Legion and the VFW, they joined together to put on some amazing programs, and it gets bigger every year, so kudos to you for doing that. But I would also welcome everybody else in your communities. I'm sure that they have things going on. We do a cleaning of the tombstones at Union Cemetery, and have been doing that for several years. It's just, it's a good way to get involved, meet new people in your community, and I know that, of course, White Bear Lake is in the best district in the state, of course, but I'm sure all of your, I'm sure all of your communities have one too, but I would just highly encourage anybody who's listening right now to get involved. It really is special, and you get to hear those stories like you just talked about, and it just is, it's, I don't know. Of course, I'm a history teacher, so maybe I get into it a little bit more, but I appreciate that you're here today and what you do for our community in particular.
Again, if I could, and thank you, Senator Gustafson. You know, she's out there in her jeans and, you know, and scraping away. It's not just a photo op. She's out there working hard, and we really appreciate that in White Bear Lake.
Senator Farnsworth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've got to try and organize my thoughts here. I was thinking about when these two were talking and thinking about this document. This wasn't free. Somebody paid for it, and I didn't. I didn't pay for it. I was this close to joining the National Guard out of high school, and I let my mom talk me out of it, and I've regretted it pretty much every day since. And we have Veterans Day and Memorial Day, and those are the days that I really regret it. But I haven't earned the right to be here. You two and my dad, who served in the Air Force, and my brother, he was a rebel rouser, so my mom's like, yeah, he can join the Army and get out of here. You all earned the right for me to be here and for everybody at this table to be here. We have this document that was paid for 250 years ago, but it's been paid for every single year by people like you. So I just want to say thank you.
Senator verbatim.
Thank you, Chair Swedzinski. I also want to say thank you to everyone who testified today, and agree that the students who came were really, really impressive, as were our adult speakers, but the students really did stand out to me. I am the proud daughter of a now retired public social studies teacher, so I have so much respect for our educators, and just wanted to take the time to thank you, Chair Swedzinski, for all of your service. It was really special to hear from your former students today, and I've always got the sense that you were one of those teachers that students loved to be in the classroom with, and we could see that in their testimony today. You will be so missed at the legislature. You have just this joy and energy that is infectious, and we can hear you from across the room. So I always laugh at when you're speaking on the floor and can be holding your microphone like this far away, and we can still hear you so well. So we'll all try to project the best that we can, even when you're gone. But you're just one of those people who I think was really born to be a teacher and an educator, and your love for students and for education, for our state and our country is just like so evident, and you take every opportunity, I feel like, in your work here to let that shine through. And I'll just really miss you being here. I think you've been such a great member to work with, who's just brought us together and brought a lot of joy to this process. And so thank you so much.
Senator Kunish.
All right, I get to lead in. First of all, thank you to our veterans that came today. Thank you to the students that stood up and spoke your truth, and for all the hard work and the research and resourcing that you did. When you mentioned, when the student mentioned documentary student, is she still here? Mentioned her pages of research. I was just blown away because I did a lot of teaching on that, and it was hard to get kids to understand why that was so important. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for being a civic teacher and producing students such as what we have here. Oftentimes we hear kind of the gloom and doom of education in Minnesota. And as hard as Senator Swadzinski and I tried in order to bring our experience and the voices of the students that we've had and the students that come to our committees and the teachers and the administrators, it is so rewarding to hear and see the eloquence, the empathy, and the skills that our students bring, and that is what really keeps us going here in the Capitol, when we see the results of the hard work of so many people and know that our missions are not done and that we have generations coming up that are going to kind of give us the sense of comfort that all is not gloom and doom, but we have a really bright future here in Minnesota. And so thank you again, Senator Swadzinski, for being a partner in the work that we do here. Thank you to all the staff, to our Republican counterparts that keep us on our toes and keep us thinking outside the box when it comes to that, to the partnerships that we have out there in MDE and Education Minnesota and the advocates. This is the work that brings us pride, brings us joy, brings us sometimes satisfaction, but we know that we can't do it without all of you. So again, thank you ever so much for being here today and for the work that you continue to do.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, members, for being here today. Thank you, audience. One of the speakers, a former student, talked about, we're here today to celebrate the 250th anniversary and plant seeds and get people excited. As all of you testified today, your enthusiasm and patriotism and purpose fueled us today. And we will take that energy for the next couple months, and hopefully, and as one of the students said, this isn't just a date on a calendar. It's something that we can go on to celebrate day in and day out as Americans. And I just want to say, last time I'm probably going to be able to say this, Senator Kunesh and I spent more time in the classroom than any two senators in Minnesota history. So I'm proud to call her my friend. But one of the student speakers also talked about the saddest day I've ever spent in the classroom, which we'll also be celebrating, not celebrating, 9/11. It's the 25th anniversary coming up. And as that day will be, yeah, I see a couple of you looking at each other right now going, oh my God, it's been 25 years. And I'll never forget that morning. And Sarah, thanks for reminding me. I never watched TV, never in my classroom. We just didn't have, in fact, I had a picture of David's trial and death of Socrates in front of my television set as a reminder. Think about that and not the TV. But a colleague of mine said, you might want to turn the television on. He came, knocked on my door, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, roll them. And that was my nickname for him. And he said, no, Swat, turn your TV on. And I turned the TV on, and Tower 2 was up in flames. And literally minutes after I turned the television set, my students live saw that second plane fly into Tower 1. And for the first time in my teaching career, I didn't know what to say, because as Sarah said, the students are looking to us daily as educators for hope and our future, and motivate them and excite them and instill with them all the things we're supposed to do as educators, and we try to instill in this committee on finance and policy. And for the first and only time in my career, I didn't know what to say, and I regain my composure and my thoughts, and that'll be another anniversary that we'll be having to talk about in our classrooms on September 11th, and that was literally the hardest day I ever had in the classroom, though, was trying to give my students hope for a future that on that day looked pretty bleak. But we're America. And as Benjamin Rush said at the signing of the Treaty of Paris at the end of the Revolutionary War, he goes, this is far from being, the war for independence is over, but this is far from being the case with the American Revolution. And with that, we adjourn. Thank you, everybody.